So it's 10 days ago where Lauren Jackson became just the first Australian player to be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Lindsay Gay's 6 years ago, the first Australian as a coach. But Lauren Jackson, who is our greatest ever basketballer, was recognised as such with a momentous honour, inducted with NBA champions Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh, Ben Wallace, Tony Kukoc, along with Chris Webber, and the great Bill Russell, who became the fifth person to ever be inducted as a player and a coach. That was the illustrious company that Lauren Jackson was absolutely in her element with and absolutely deserving of this incredible honour, and she's been good enough to jump on the phone with us. Lauren, hello to you and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Where were you when you found out that this was going to happen?
I actually was coming off a basketball court. I was playing social comp with some of my friends, and we just finished a game, and I got a call from America, and I got the good news. It was about 8:30 at night or 9 o'clock at night, so it was very welcome news. And then I came home and jumped in bed with my kids. So it was didn't get to celebrate too much of it, but it was definitely, like I said, a very welcome call.
There's something quite beautiful about the fact that where you found out was where obviously your journey began, back home in Albury, where you're residing again. So there's a beautiful bit of serendipity about that. What did it mean to you? And has that changed what it's meant to you from the day you found out to 10 days after?
Look, it means the world to me. I grew up watching the NBA. There wasn't a lot of visibility, if any, of women's basketball on the TV when I was growing up. And obviously coming from a basketball family, I was definitely entrenched in the NBA culture and watching it on TV and Michael Jordan. And I always thought that I would be a basketball player, and I knew of the Naismith Hall of Fame. So it was always in the back of my mind. And yeah, look, I guess not having any other Australian players in it, I didn't know whether it was possible to crack it and get in there. But, it was, and I'm here now, and it does really mean the world to me. I mean, I'm sure I'm the first of many, many Australian athletes that are going to be in there, but it is super special and great recognition for my career.
It's only fitting, Lauren, really, and it you're probably too humble to say that, but it is fitting that when you are someone who has blazed a trail for other Australians and especially women to make a path in the WNBA, it is only fitting that you are the first woman to be inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. But before we get to that, can you take us back to being a kid in Albury and when you first fell in love with basketball?
Oh, I can't remember when I first fell in love with it. There's stories that when I was 2 years old, I was telling, people that I was going to represent Australia like my mum did. And, I have memories from when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, being at the basketball stadium with my mum. And, mum would be training with her team, and I'd be like, wow, I'm better than all of them. I should be out there playing, and I'd be down there shooting hoops, trying to get the coach to see me and stuff. So I think it's fair to say I was always in love with the game, and I was born to play, there's no doubt. My brother, he's, 6'8", and he had no desire whatsoever to even step foot on a basketball court. Like, he had passions elsewhere. So it was definitely in my blood. And, yeah, I feel like I was just really fortunate to be in a basketball family.
Well, your parents are both internationals. Your dad, Gary, a boomer, your mum, Marie, an opal. So if there's never a truer word spoken when you say you were born to play, and we often say, oh, it's in their blood, but this is absolutely the definition of in the blood. So let's fast forward a little bit. 2001, your name gets read out as the first overall pick in the 2001 draft. Seattle Storm is where you're headed. And at the end of your time there, 317 games, 2 WNBA championships, 7 All-Star appearances, and 3 WNBA MVPs. What stands out to you about your time in the US and what you were able to achieve in the WNBA?
Gosh, I don't really know. It was all just, I took it in my stride, and I didn't really think too much about it when I was in it because it was always sort of a natural progression for me as an athlete. And I think, from my journey over to America, it was the teammates, it was the journey, it was the the people and the times that we had, and I think they mean the most to me because, you know, more often than not, the more successful seasons, I was in a great team with people that I really enjoyed playing with. And but, you know, even through that, I've got friendships with these girls that I'll have for the rest of my life, and connections that, you know, nobody can ever break. So I think that's probably it. It's more the journey that it was. And, you know, I wish it went a little bit longer. I wish I didn't sort of get stopped when I did by injury. But at the end of the day, I am probably happier now than what I ever was when I was in the basketball world. But I wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for the sport. So I'm just really grateful, you know.
It's interesting, Lauren, that this is to hear you say that you always believed this was the path. So when you take another step in it, to have that mindset, I'd imagine means that maybe, and you can answer. Obviously, that's how interviews work. That you'll answer this, but that when you've got that mental belief and that this is all part of your progression and your journey, when you get there, did that, I suppose, steady you for any potential culture shock or you know, being overwhelmed at any point, or did you experience all those things?
Oh, I totally experienced all those things. I was way out of my depth. There's no doubt about it. You know, I'm a country kid at heart, and you know, moving away from home when I was 15, that was, you know, just so traumatic. And then I knew I was going to go over and play in the WNBA. I had no doubt in my mind. But when it happened, you know, the nerves kicked in, you know, the doubts kick in, and everything happens. But it's just about putting, you know, one foot in front of the other. And, you know, for me, I was scared. There's no doubt about it. I went through all of these. And I've always dealt with a bit of anxiety. And I think my mental health issues have been documented fairly well. But the way that I've always gotten through everything I've done is just putting one foot in front of another, you know, like I just keep walking into it and knowing that it's going to scare me and it's going to be hard, but it's worth it, you know, and that for me is what pretty much got me through. It took me everywhere. It took me all around the world, that mentality.
When I'm looking and reading about your incredible career, Lauren Jackson, I sort of had to, because if I went through every achievement, we'd be out of time. I'd read it and then I'd say, hey, thanks for being with us. So obviously what you achieved in the WNBA in and of itself is probably worthy of your induction. But there's so many other facets to your career. I mean, you won championships in Russia, Spain. But when it comes to home, you were able to win 5 WNBL championships with the Canberra Capitals, 4-time WNBL MVP, and 4-time WNBL Grand Final MVP. So you've won 4 MVPs out of 5 Grand Finals. I mean, that's Jordan-esque. That's, as you know, we rave about Dusty Martin. You can put that aside. You know, when you hear about your achievements, do you sometimes go, geez, that's pretty bloody good?
It's funny. I do, but in the other sort of breath, I'm kind of like, well, damn, I could have done so much more. You know,
yeah.
if I didn't get injured, and so, you know, especially in the WNBL, I was injured a lot, and you know, I didn't play a lot of the seasons, and I only just came in for finals. So I was sort of rehabbing WNBA seasons, and then I'd just play in the final series if we made it. And then, you know, obviously I went over to Europe and played for a period of time. So it was sort of, I was planning on coming back and playing in Canberra from 2013 onwards. I had a 5-year contract or a 3-year contract, I can't remember, over 5 years. And I wanted to really play those seasons out and I guess just finish with a bang. But yeah, my body obviously broke down. I couldn't do it. But I guess for me, being able to play in Australia was just such an honour because I love this league. I love Australia. I love being on home soil, obviously. And I just loved the profile that I was able to bring to the sport as an athlete, you know. And so that was really disappointing that I couldn't be a part of, you know, and also, too, the women in sport movement that sort of kicked in then at that period of time.
Yep.
So having to do that or be a part of that from the sidelines was really disappointing. But I think, you know, what I'm able to contribute now and how I'm able to contribute now has definitely sort of helped me move through that and focus on the future.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the work you're doing, but I suppose, as I said, when I broke down your career, the three elements, and we've talked WNBA, a little bit of WNBL, and I know how proud you are of what you've been able to achieve there, but internationally as well, your record is phenomenal. The all-time leading Olympic scorer on the women's side of things, 3-time Olympic silver medalist, a bronze medal, you're our flag bearer in 2008, 2006 gold medal, world champions, and at the Com Games as well in 2006. Your international career, in and of itself, what does that mean to you, given your lineage with both your parents representing Australia and what you were able to achieve for Australia?
Oh, look, representing Australia and putting on the green and gold was just the pinnacle, and I think at a time when, women's sport wasn't that visible, when you played for Australia in an Olympic Games or a World Championship, Australia took notice, and that's when people who sort of didn't really care about it, they took notice and they cared, So that was a really special time. Anytime I suited up for Australia, I was just so overwhelmed with just pride and what it meant, and, being able to reflect on those times and what we're able to bring to the sport in particular was just so special. And I think we got used to being, pretty good, We got used to being good, winning medals and stuff, because now you're seeing how hard that is to actually achieve. And we were good. Our teams were good. And it's sort of, looking back, it's great. I love it. It's beautiful. But, I really want that continued success for our national team and our girls. So I'm going to do whatever I can to help them. And I'm just glad, like I said, that I continue to be in a role where I where I'm going to be able to.
You guys, when it came to international basketball, the Opals really carried the can for a long time, and we saw at the Olympics recently with the Boomers being able to get their first medal. When I was watching that, I was thinking this is one of my favourite moments in sport, but I don't know whether it would have been possible without you guys actually laying down the gauntlet in a way. And I know that it's been referenced by a lot of the men's players about what the Opals have done before they were able to, and again maybe that. Giving that motivation and showing what was possible for Australia. Do you get a sense of pride from what you guys have been able to do and have been doing for a long time, consistently being top 2 in the world, to where the Boomers are finding themselves now?
Oh, look, the Boomers are just, I love the way they go about their business, and I think they just captured, everyone's attention over the Olympic period. They were just magnificent to watch as a team, the way they cared about each other as teammates, and the way that they represented Australia with such pride. It was so evident, and it was just so beautiful to watch. And I think absolutely they're probably, in the last 20 years, the Opals have probably been the most successful team sport in Australia, especially women's, and we've been able to do some pretty amazing things on the world stage. So it's, look, I think it's only that you've been seeing the guys sort of come along in the last Olympics in Rio. They were right there at the World Cup. So it was time for them to medal. And I have no doubt that they're going to be pushing toward that gold medal in the next sort of 4 to 6 years. And it's a really exciting time for them. But yeah, I think that it was definitely probably something that they'd thought about, no doubt. They've had to see us win a few medals at Olympic Games and stuff, and it's their turn, and they were fantastic.
I know you would have been disappointed for the Opals. It didn't quite go their way, and obviously disrupted preparation to the Olympics. And apart from a few, moments where we saw exactly just how good this team is, they just weren't able to string it together. But I think we can put that down to an anomaly, and we know that the next chance the Opals will get, they'll be right back up in contention. When you look at that in context with everything else that's happening in women's sport at the moment, and you're the head of women's basketball for Basketball Australia, women's sport at the moment seems to be going through a really vital and important boom. In terms of presence of mind, Lauren Jackson, we've got, the Australian women's cricket team are the best in the world. We've got the number 1 ranked women's tennis player in the world. We've got, at the Olympics, women were predominantly the standout performers and carried the bulk of the medal tally. So it seems, and with the growth of now AFLW and NRLW, which has got its challenges at the minute, but it seems to be a really pivotal time in the history of women's sport. Do you feel that, and where do you get the sense that it's at and where it's going to be?
Yeah, I totally feel that, and it's an exciting time, to be a girl in sport. Having the same pathways and the same opportunities as what guys do. It's incredible. So it's for us, it's just about continuing on that trajectory, and obviously still working toward equity in sport and what that looks like. I mean, I think there's a long way to go, but it's great that we've got so much visibility and people are seeing just how incredible the athletes are. On a global scale, we've got the best athletes in the world here. And I mean, that ranges from, like you were talking about Ash, but you look at Sam Kerr and just some of she's incredible. We have some really remarkable, talented athletes, and it's great that they're getting the recognition that they deserve.
It is. And I think it's a moment to really savour, and hopefully that brings us into an even bigger era for it. And I'd love to talk to you more about that in depth on another occasion. And we're sort of running out of time, Lauren. But can I just getting back to your achievement and all of your achievements? Mm-hmm. If I was to say to you, you can take one achievement, one trophy, one medal, just one. Is there one that you can automatically think of that if you had to give them all up, that you would want to hang on to that one most dearly? Is there something for you that you treasure above all?
Oh, not really. Like I said before, it's more the journey for me. I think, obviously the World Cup was very special, winning that gold medal. But the other achievements, they were also remarkable. So I can't really sort of say one over the other. I think just because of my love for the green and gold, it would definitely be that. But it was a whole journey. Yeah,
no, that's absolutely respect that. Are you a footy fan, Lauren Jackson? Do you have a team, an AFL team by any chance?
Well, I do. I'm a Swannies fan, but one of my great, beautiful, long-term friends is the president of the D's. So I'm going to have to support Melbourne is it this weekend or next weekend? I don't even know.
It's this weekend.
Yeah, it's this weekend. Yes. So I'm very excited, and I'm supporting the D's.
How did you guys become friends? How did you and Kate Roffey become friends?
In Canberra, actually. She was working in Canberra, and she was a part of our Canberra Capitals crew. And for many years, she was sort of, I guess, one of my closest friends, and just friends and supporters. And she's, just someone I've grown up with. And, she's a beautiful friend.
Well, there we go. That could be an omen. Hopefully they'll be able to tap into what some of your success, and hopefully there's success for them and for your good friend Kate. Hey, Lauren, I could go on for way more. I think I've got through about half of the questions that I had written down, but it's been so great chatting to you. Congratulations again. An extraordinary achievement. The first Australian player inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. You're in an illustrious company there, and you deserve every part of that and sit very comfortably in and amongst all them. Thanks for everything you've done for the game of basketball and that you continue to do, advancing women at grassroots level and all the way through to the highest levels. It's important work that you're doing and another part of the legacy that you'll leave on the game. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good on you. Thank you.